Today, we're going to talk about the way that most people market their small businesses and show you that the typical customer life cycle is broken. In fact, this is one of the main reasons why so many businesses fail just after they get started. What I want to talk about today are three specific areas of waste that I see happening in small businesses. And I want to offer you up a framework to allow you to recapture some of those lost opportunities and take your business to a new level. So, the typical customer life cycle is kind of a three-part approach where businesses go out and they engage in activities that will attract people to their business. You might have activities that you do with your website online where you're trying to drive traffic. You may have customers who you're referring to or who you're trying to get word of mouth interest to your business. Perhaps you're meeting them face to face at trade shows or special events. Or you may have other direct advertising campaigns, radio, TV, newspaper, direct mail, whatever. Now, all of that energy is to get interest in your business so that you can apply your sales process. You may have a very short sales process or you could have a very long sales process, but you have to have some method that you use to acquire new customers. So let's do a little case study here. Let's say you spend $1,000 and about 10 hours of time in efforts trying to generate interest in your business. Now that produces 100 leads and you converted 10% of those leads. So you've created 10 new customers, and that's kind of the way a typical flow might happen. Now, what if you say, well, I'm not happy with 10, I want 20. I want to double the number of customers that I'm getting right now. So as a small business, where do we normally go and what levers are we going to pull? Well, most of them are coming back over here and they're saying, well, why don't I double the amount of money I'm spending or the amount of time, or why don't I double my sales staff? And what I'm going to share with you today is that there are some options for doubling the number of customers that you're getting that will be far less expensive than just going around and starting to double things. So let's talk about some of those areas. The first big area of waste in small business is lost traffic. So think about it. How many people that come to your website today or hear about you through friends or word of mouth, or they've seen you at a trade show, or they've responded to your direct advertising and they're not ready to do business with you today? And so they just sort of leave, right? They come to your website, they look around, they click on buttons, and they leave. Or they hear about you, or they're at a trade show and they see your display and they look at things and then they walk around and they forget about you or whatever. Well, what if there was a way to capture the information of those people in a way that we could follow up so that when they are ready to move forward, we're there and we're following up with them? And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is the main area of loss. And most businesses don't have a mechanism to deal with that. Most businesses have a bunch of traffic either going to their website or calling them on the phone or coming into their store, and they're not capturing it. And literally all that traffic is going straight into the trash can. But let's say we do capture a lead, and now they're going into our sales process. And most businesses are awesome at closing out what they would call hot leads, right? So these are what we call our 5 flame hotties, and we do a great job with those, and nobody has a real problem with them because it's kind of a natural instinct and they're pretty much ready to buy. The problem is if somebody's not a hot lead, and most of the time in most business they get labeled as a bad lead. They're just not ready to buy today. And just because they're not ready to buy today when you need to make a sale or create sales doesn't mean they're a bad lead. Now, granted, a few of them are bad leads that are never going to buy. But the principle here is typically it takes a minimum of 7 contacts, and I've heard from different sources in some industries you can be into the high 30s, and that's before a customer is ready to do business with you. So they want to understand you, they want to get to know you, so they want to have interactions with you before they're ready to do business, and that takes a certain amount of time. Well, the problem is most small businesses stop their follow-up between 2 and 3 follow-ups, which means you've done a little bit of the work but nowhere near enough. And what's likely going to happen is that the prospective customer is going to now go off and do business with somebody else, or just forget about you altogether and never do business with anybody. So this is a significant problem and a major source of waste, lost leads. Now, what if we had a system and an approach for taking these leads that weren't hot today and taking them all the way to the finish line? And we'll talk about that. And the third area of waste is also a huge one, is that we are literally losing customers. And what does that mean? Well, it means a couple things. A very small number of them will die. There's just no getting around that. It happens to us all eventually, but that's a very small number. Sometimes a customer will just up and leave your business. They stopped interacting with you and buying from you, and this is sad. Do you know the number one reason why people choose to leave one business in favor of another? And you might think it's some sort of massive customer service failure or they hate the product. And no, actually it's sad, and it's really sad, especially for small business owners. But 65% of people report that they will leave one company over it and go to another because of indifference. So you ask them, well, why did you leave company ABC? And the reply you get is, I don't know, it just didn't, whatever. Well, what that means is that we have not done the work we need to do to make sure that every new customer we have knows that we love them and we care about them and that they're getting great service. And that's an easy problem to solve. But it's a travesty that small businesses are losing so many customers because of indifference. And it's not just repeat sales, it's also referrals. A lot of the word of mouth that we bring in happens because we nail it for our customers. Like when you really knock it out of the park, they're happy to talk about you. When they're indifferent, they don't. So, all right, now let's change gears here. So instead of just implementing the typical customer life cycle in your business, let's turn that into the ideal customer life cycle. LifeCycle marketing is the framework we use at RailGun to help you do exactly that, to get rid of the waste that we've talked about. The waste of traffic, the wasted leads, and the wasted customers. And there are 3 distinct phases inside of LifeCycle marketing: your system of attracting new people to your business, your system of selling, and your system of wowing. So the first phase in LifeCycle marketing is the attract phase, and there are 3 components to the attract phase. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to help you identify who your target market is. So who are the best customers? Who are the people that you should be out attracting? You might look at the customers you've already attracted and seen what commonalities are among them to get really clear about who we're targeting. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to make a little bit of a shift to the way that we attract interest and to make sure that we're not losing out on traffic. So what we'll do is this. We'll help you identify the places where you can go to find people that are your targets. And rather than just letting go of them if they're not ready to move forward, we're going to use this tool called a lead magnet. I'm drawing another one up here. The lead magnet is a thing. We're going to offer that to them in exchange for them giving you their contact information, and you're going to get to collect the lead in exchange for that. So though, that might look like a web form that somebody shows up on your lead capture form, that shows up on your website, catches somebody's name. You want to get their email address, possibly a phone number. We're also going to tag them with a pixel or a cookie when they visit our website. And this way, even if they don't take our offer for the lead magnet, we can still stay in touch and show them other offers or other lead magnets. Now, we can be sure that we're not just having people come to our website and go into the trash bin. And that's the very high level overview of the attract phase. So now we move on to the sell phase of LifeCycle marketing. And this is where we help you avoid losing the leads that we've been losing before. We're going to have a system of follow-up that specifically focuses on those leads that aren't 5 flame hot and that aren't ready to buy today. And here's what that might look like. So together we create an automatic follow-up system where we've just captured a lead. Now we're going to send that new person perhaps an email, or an email to follow up with them, followed potentially by a phone call. It might go up by you or by one of your salespeople, and then maybe another email goes out, and then we can do something like SMS messaging. And the whole goal of this is to create those interactions. Because remember, we said it takes usually a minimum of 7 contacts. So that's what we're building here. Each one of these is a separate touch. We're going to create that system in your business so that, like clockwork, you know that every new lead that comes in is getting the follow-up that they need to be turned into a customer. Now, it's not reasonable to think that we're going to convert everybody just because we start to follow up with them. Some people just aren't ready to buy today. So we'll have to have another approach for longer-term nurture where we'll continue to stay in touch with those people over time and a longer-term nurture program. But all of this, the goal of this is to turn more of those leads that we've just been going into the trash can into customers. Now, what are we going to do for all the new customers? Well, we want to make sure that every single brand new customer that comes into the business is wowed. And that's why we call this phase of LifeCycle marketing wow. We're going to make sure that, like clockwork, when we have a new customer, we have a wowing process that might also look like some follow-up, but we're going to lay the love on thick, and we're going to have a series of automatic follow-ups that go out. In this case, we might send them a direct mail package. They're a brand new customer. It might make sense to send them a gift. We're going to send them emails. We're going to send them follow-up. Make sure that they know that we love them. It's as simple as reminding your salespeople to send a handwritten thank you card for someone that just bought a new motorcycle. There's no limit to what we should be doing to remind these people that, hey, we appreciate you. And we're not going to stop just there. We're going to have an ongoing follow-up system in place as well. Now, all of this obviously is going to create a customer that buys more and comes back and repeats. But we also have specific systems that we can put in place that will help you collect more referrals, because that's one of the main elements of the wow phase, is getting more referrals. So LifeCycle marketing is a system that will help you annihilate these areas of waste in your business. And to have in place, what we're going to do is we're going to fix this entire system that makes it so that you can have a business that is literally going to go to the next level automatically. And this is what LifeCycle marketing might look like in your business. Now, you might be sitting there and saying, hey Rich, that's cool, but number one, where am I going to learn how to do all this stuff? And where am I going to find the time to implement all these things? Well, that's the good news, and that's why we exist at RailGun. So we've been doing all of this in our own businesses since 2011, and we've helped dozens of small business owners implement LifeCycle marketing. What we know works, and we also know what doesn't work, and we're here to help. The other thing is the Keep and Infusionsoft software that we use. Those technologies allow us to be almost completely automated, which means all of these things happen automatically without you or your staff having to worry about it. And we'd love to help you with that. I want you to stop before we close today and ask yourself this question. What would it be worth in my business if I had a system that completely eliminated all of these traffic jams? I knew that everybody who was coming to my website was offered something of value to capture those leads, and they weren't just bouncing off. And all of those leads that I had today were being followed up with systematically, like clockwork, to be turned into customers, and then so that every customer felt the love and they were being wowed and they were giving us referrals. What would that be worth to you in your business? So we want to help you and your business succeed at RailGun. That's why we exist. So give us a call and email or whatever, and we're happy to give you a free 1-hour consult, and let's talk about how we can help. Thanks so much. I'm Ray Pickard.